So here's a little preamble about what I'm going to do in here, or why I need to do what I have to do in here. So we have these shapes, right? All of this is going to catch light in various areas. So I don't want to go really dark on the water, but I need to generally, I'm not gonna reflect light and shape of this, but generally I'm going to show that the water here on the right hand side is going to be picking up more ambient reflection from the distant light, and as we go to the left it's going to get darker because obviously we're under, in general, what would be a darker mass, even though it's going to pick up some light here and there. So mostly I'm just going to fill this in with the best as I can, good direction, width and shape, and varied lengths of brush strokes, varying the color slightly. We're going to go darker, we're going to go more purple again. This is a bit of a dirty purple. We're going to probably clean it up a little bit and vary the colors as we work down towards the rocks here. Once that's in place, I'm going to need to play, it's a bit of a game of cat and mouse. I don't work from a photograph on this. I'm just sort of making it up as I go. So that's makes things a little more difficult because I have to use my imagination and my own knowledge of how light works and what you can get away with on a painting in order to play with that. So we'll do that, but we're not concerned about that too much yet. This is in place, that's good. Started to shape our rock, that's good. I'm gonna paint this in. I'll make some refinements to the edge of this rock. A biggie for me was I really need to get, and that's the first order of business, decide where this land mass is going to meet the water. And as I mentioned, I think in the previous video, I want it to be tilted a little bit like this, okay? Even though we're using very horizontal brush strokes for the most part, this little point of land needs to drop down as we go to the left, indicating that it's a little closer to us over here than it is here. Not going to go crazy with it. I want to stay, sort of with the theme of the whole painting. Major, strong vertical design built with a lot of horizontal brushstrokes. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in just to this area and we'll start playing with that. So I'm going to start with sort of a dark and dirty purple, and I'm a little bit afraid of what I'm doing right now, and that's okay. That is going to happen on every painting. But don't worry, that may not happen to you. The fact that I'm a coward is probably a good part of what I'm dealing with right now. So, okay. Alright, that's my baseline. That's the darkest of the colors that I'm going to start here. And I'm using cobalt blue, alizarin crimson, a bit of raw umber. Now I'm adding to that same pile cobalt blue, alizarin crimson, no raw umber. I'm just going to test the water. I'm going to have a look at it. Okay, a little higher value. I like that. Is that high enough for here? Yeah, I think it is. But I'm going to touch it with yellow ochre and a hint of alizarin crimson. And we're going to try to come in meeting up with that one. About like so. Okay, now I don't know if you can see it. I think you probably can. I intend this to be a bit of a void, a bit of a cave. That might change in only a few minutes. This is a boulder that will stand proud of this large mass of bedrock. So we want this to be forward, that to be a little bit back, this to be back even further. So let's say that we go to, oh, that's a little too high already. Let's say we go about there. Okay. And then for safety's sake, we drop it to about there. Again, I'm being a coward. And we'll leave it there for the moment. This boulder may come so far forward that we want to actually bring it right down to this line. Okay. But I will put in a stroke of color. A stroke of paint, rather. Okay, now a bit of white. A little more cobalt blue. A little bit of ultramarine. Or no. Alizarin crimson. I'm not using a very big brush right now, but I think it'll do for the moment. Okay. Alright, we'll add to that a little bit of yellow ochre, a bit of alizarin crimson. That brings us closer to these colors here. Touch that with white, just a touch. Yeah, I can do that. I can lay it in there as well. Okay, we may have that solved, I don't know. But for the moment, that's good enough. We're stepping up slowly, right? And this line I found was diving a little bit, so I would like for it not to dive. I would like for it to... Oh, wait a minute. No, it was going up. I don't want it to go up. I want it to go down a little bit. Okay. More white. I just keep adding to the same pile. I'm not mixing on different piles. I'm going to put in a bit of linseed oil in this stroke. Alright. I think that's going to work. Nothing too dark there, just a gradual, sort of a smooth transition at that point. Don't like what's going on there. Okay, I think that's a good start. So I'm just looking at where my light has to end for the most part. And it's going to be about here. if we have just laying in some light here again, if we can just do that a little bit. Just break into this a little bit. We have to stay dark. Let me zoom out a little bit because I'm not able to explain this very well. Okay, now you can see the edge of these trees, right? That's where technically you won't have sky reflecting on the water here, and technically from this line to the right you will have sky reflecting on the water. But there's always, as I mentioned, a cat and mouse game. Because the water has a bit of texture, a little bit of ripple to it, this light will cut into the dark a little bit, and the dark will cut into the light a little bit. So that's what we're playing with right now. And without getting too worried about things, I just thought I'd lay a couple of strokes in there. That's sort of cobalt blue and a bit of, what is that? Alizarin crimson and yellow ochre and white. Now I'm going to go back to cobalt blue and raw umber. Dipping into the linseed oil again a little bit. Go off to our left here. That's awfully dark. I don't think we'll do that. I'll add a bit of white to it. There we go. A shot of green. A shot of green. That's just fine. I don't mind that at all. Let's put a stroke down here too, just to remind us to keep some varying colors in the painting. Okay. Now we're going to go a little more blue again. Cobalt blue and raw umber. I guess that went green because I had a little bit of yellow ochre still in my brush. It's fine. You know, those are happy accidents, and they're just fine. Love them. Love them, because you don't always think at the moment to do it, you know, to include those colors. But when it happens, you sort of have to have the presence of mind of going, oh, that's cool, I like it. It'll stay. Okay, that's still very green. I'm going to go to adding a little bit of ultramarine blue, because that will force it to go away from the greens. Just throwing in strokes. Okay, that's still good. Now I'm going to, into the same pile, mix more ultramarine blue and a bit of alizarin crimson, which will bring us back to this direction. Okay, a little darker, a little lower in value. It's okay. There's a streak of lower value. And there's another. Now I'm going to add a little more white to it. I don't want to go too far down in value. Now I'm going to use cobalt blue and a little bit of alizarin crimson. Variety, you know, variety. Always a little bit of variety here and there. Oops, a little bit of junk there. Okay, I guess I'll have to use the knife. Scrape that off there. I'm a bit persnickety. You don't have to do that. That's just, it's one of those things that gets on my nerves, is having little bits of debris on there. Alright, now along the edge of the painting, we don't need to get too colorful. In fact, we don't want to. We don't want to have too much variety there. I think there's plenty as it sits already. It's really in this area that we want to make sure that we have more variety and more strength. Okay, we'll go back to cobalt blue. Cobalt blue and ultramarine blue. And a bit of white and a bit of alizarin crimson. Oh, that's quite light. It's okay, don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. And the temptation, and I might already be guilty of this, but the temptation is to have so many speckles of color, your water becomes weak. Because as a whole, this painting has very broad strokes. So let's just try to maintain that feel. I think that's the best thing we can do at the moment. Yeah, I like that. I think that where our even down here where our water meets the rock, I think our water should be dark. No, light. Sorry, a little bit light. Not too dark, I guess is what I meant to say. Okay, we'll dip into that. Linseed oil again. I'm not dipping into linseed oil every time. Just here and there. Okay, a little more ultramarine blue. I think I'll touch a little raw umber. So you can see that really I don't go through too many brush strokes without changing the color a little bit. Even a little bit. It's a pretty important thing to do. Let's add a little white to that. Now we're down to these little rocks, and I may have gone too light already against it, but I'm not going to worry about it. You know, the thing is that I'm going to be back to this painting tomorrow. And it's usually a bigger mistake to be a coward than it is to screw up and at least be bold. Unfortunately, I generally fall on the side of being a coward, so, you know, I have to make up for it with some of these rough lines. Okay, so we're getting a little closer to where we'll have more light. I think that for the most part there's enough dark sitting there. I think that we can now, we'll go a little lighter and warmer to reflect the sky above it. And once the general feel, the general timbre and tone of the water is laid in, color-wise, we can bring in that reflections from that yellow orb that's up in the sky into here. But we're going to lay that over the paint that we have. We're not going to jump into that yet. I think that would be a bad idea. So to my existing pile. Again, I'm not making a different pile of color. I'm just adding it into my existing pile, which is pretty depleted now. A little bit of a warmer color, touching yellow ochre, and just generally giving this the feel of some light here. A little more yellow ochre. You know, it's almost as though I'm washing it in, but you know, if you were to equate it with a wash-in, you would have to say that I'm washing it in with oil rather than turpentine. Alright, well, something I do have to do here is give more consideration to the exact shape of my rock, of the rock. I have to stop saying things like it's my rock and my way. Me. It's all about me. Anyway, what I do have to do is give more consideration to the shape here of exactly what I want to do, and then I'll block it in. Or I'll draw the lines more intensely with some dark color. But you know, I can do this so thinly right now. Oh, yeah, okay. Alright. Okay, that's good for the moment. I'm just going to back off and show you sort of a brief, synopsis? No, a brief description of what I'm doing and why. Okay, I hope you can see what I'm saying. I think that's a decent angle enough. Let me just flip the screen around here so that I can see what I'm doing. Alright, so you see how this, the dark mass here is more or less in line with this dark mass. It's creeping over to the right a little bit. That's fine. That's artist license. I can move it to the right if I want to, and I feel design-wise it's the thing to do. There will be highlights painted in these waters, but the general tone are there. The general colors are there. I painted it in with these colors and these values to the best of my ability in anticipation of the fact that these rocks won't be completely dark. They're going to carry some light as well. So for the moment, that's the best I can do. I cannot lay exactly everything I'm going to. I cannot lay paint on exactly every area that I want in this water just yet. For my own comfort, I need to have these rocks painted in. Not the trees so much. They will act as more of a silhouette. They're pushed back a little bit. Their main function will be providing interesting shapes against the sky. The rocks, I think, yeah, as long as they're kept fairly dark. Anyway, you'll see. I'm worse at explaining than I am at doing so. Anyway, for the time being, that's it. I think you can see what I want. These need to be sculpted a little bit more, but I think in general, it's shaping up. Okay, talk to you later.